Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the Redington virtual sessions. Today's topic we have from Barracuda on CloudGen Firewall, securing your business through during the pandemic. We have Mohan Kumar, our pre-sales consultant from KSA, who will be running you through the session. In case you have any questions during the session, we would request you to please put them in the Q&A box, and Mohan will answer them at the end of the session. Mohan, over to you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, for joining today's session. So today we're gonna see how the enterprise or business is allowing the users remotely to access their corporate data. So as this pandemic occurs, Microsoft had seen 7 times increase in their cloud services. Means people started using from their working from home, and they are trying to access their corporate data from either through VPN or through cloud resources. And there is a 125% increase in the VPN access between March 9th and March 22nd. So two things, when a business wants to give access to the user, two things comes to their mind. One is access and the flexibility. What access they should give to the users and how flexible they can have this deployment. So for years and years, company had made their network so secure, and they have blocked access from outside. So during this pandemic, it is mandated to have the same access while out of their network. So how the business gonna see this change? So we'll see in the today's session. And these are the remote access challenges. So the corporate or company, they decided to give the secure access to the users. How well they can secure the access, and they cannot able to give devices for each business users. How they gonna tackle this? For an example, school. So not all teachers will be having a PC or laptops given by the school. So the school will check with the teachers like whether they have their own laptops or iPads, and they'll encourage them to use their own personal devices for accessing or conducting the school's webinars or connecting to their network. So how flexible the company can do the deployment, and if at all the current perimeter firewall or their existing firewall cannot have this feature, and this time they bought a new firewall, how flexible they can put this Barracuda in their network, and how long they're going to have this changes. Let's see over the session. And we have 3 types of users. One is the power users. So for example, a bank employee or a bank user. So he will has to connect to the core banking application or to the databases on from a regular 9 to 5 basis. And there are some mobile users who need not to be connected to their corporate network, but they'll still be traveling, and they'll be using their own devices like laptops, tablets, or even their mobiles to access either emails or any backend application or a simple file share servers. So how the company gonna have control on these remote access? Okay, so and other user, it's like a normal third-party user. You can say auditor or someone who need not to be having these corporate devices and need not to have a particular corporate applications. So they have to use the third-party application or their own browser-based, or no need to install a VPN client or something. So how the corporate gonna give access to them? And with firewalls, as a company wanted to give access, they need to have a flexible solution. Like in this situation, they'll have to deploy it remotely. So they cannot go to their place and do connect to the data center and do the initial configuration and test it and then deploy to the user. No, it won't work in this time. So they'll have to have a various type of deployment options. So if they have more than 100 branches, how they gonna manage all these firewalls from a single place? So let's have answers for all these questions. With Barracuda Firewall, you will have 3 main things. One is protect, connect, and enable. So it will protect from multi-layered security. It has its own antivirus engine. It has its own threat prevention engine. It has its own sandboxing on the cloud. and you can have multiple VPN connection, and you can also have SD-WAN enabled on the appliance itself. And for the cloud, it's like pre-deployed packages available, so you can simply plug and play. So these are the challenges comes when corporate or customer want to put a firewall solution. So if they have multiple branches, if they have more than 100 firewall boxes, how they gonna manage it? And if they have admins for each branches, and they'll have to audit, and they'll have to do the tracing, like which admin did which changes on which firewall. So Barracuda has a solution for each questions, and how the security can be enforced for the remote users, or even someone who's trying to connect to their network, whether it is an employee or a third party like auditors or vendors who are helping the customers for their ongoing businesses. So with firewall, we'll have two options. One is the CloudGen Firewall, another is the CloudGen Control Center. So this center is a centralized management for managing multiple firewalls from a single glass pane of Windows. So you can also have a zero-touch deployment. So you don't have to put the box in the data center, connect to a laptop, and do the initial configuration. So all you can do it from a remote place. All you have to do is push the configuration package to the end user, and the moment the firewall is connected, and it will automatically fetch the configuration from the firewall control center, and it will be working for the first time itself. So with the Barracuda firewall, we'll have all the security in place. We have malware protection, we have file contents filter. So you can restrict what file content to be allowed and what file content to be blocked. For an example, you want to block all audio files, you can block all audio files and media files, and you can also allow particular extension, whether a PDF file to be downloaded only from Chrome. Yeah, you can create a policy only users can use Chrome to download PDF files or any of his related files. And you can also enforce SSL inspection, meaning so you can decrypt the traffic and apply all the policies and re-encrypt and send it back to the users. So you also have a behavior and heuristical analysis for the ATP. So any file that is downloaded from the browser or through SMTP, the file will be sent to the Barracuda cloud where it does its sandboxing. So in sandboxing, they have a multi-layer of inspection. So one is like the signature analysis, and other it'll go to the static code analysis. Then it'll check whether the file is genuine, or it is doing any malicious, or doing something which is not supposed to do. It will check all these behaviors, and then only when the file is genuine, it will allow the users to download or get in their written on their file system. If it is found malicious at any point of time, it will block, and it will only give an alert to either user or admin saying like this file is malicious and you cannot download the same. And yeah, let's move on. So these are the various user awareness, you can integrate with LDAP, you can integrate with the Radius, Takakis, SAML. So this will be this is what will secure the remote user. So when you're giving access, remote access to any user, so you can make use of these type of authentication available, and you can enforce the users to get them authenticated using these services. And before that, let me show you some VPN. So if you have more than 10 branches, how difficult it's to configure VPN between these branches. So from head office, it should be able to reach out to all the branches, and from each branches, they should able to have an interconnectivity. So just imagine if you are deploying a new firewall to achieve the same. And as IT perspective, this will be like a tedious task for any firewall. But with Barracuda, it's very simple. All you have to do is you just connect which VPN to connect to the branch office and which VPN to connect to the head office, and you can simply get it done within 5 minutes. So that is how simple it looks. So as you're saying, it's like just drag and drop. So the user is trying to drag and drop, and automatically the VPN mesh is created, and the final result, you have the connectivity. And this is the agenda of our session today. So how we are giving user access through VPN. So Barracuda has an app called Cuda Launch. So this app, it's for Windows, Android, and iOS. So they can make use of this app, or they can also use the browser based as a VPN. So the same SSL VPN can be accessible through Cuda Launch app, browser based, and the VPN client. So I'll show you a small demo for each. So this is the Cuda Launch app. Before that, this is the browser based. The same, it's been accessed over the browser. So you can make use of your authenticator and the login. So you can see the favorites ad, and these are the various application. And this is an internal application. The moment you connect, it will connect to the local application. So this is CMS, and this is a customer relationship management, which is again an internal server. And if you want to have make use of RDP or something, you can always this is an internal lab. So with this browser base, you can only publish applications and share folders. So this is the share folders. As you can see, I'm moving over some folders, and this is a file. You can edit the file remotely. As you can see, this is edit the file, everything. The same thing, it's been access through Cuda Launch app. You have an advantage of doing a remote. So for an example, these are all the various application. These application already seen in the browser, and this is the RDP. And we have two types of RDP. One is single sign-on, and one is a credential prompt. Let's see what happens when I click on single sign-on. Automatically, it will connect to the backend server. Yes, and click connect. Without even asking username and password, you have a RDP session to the backend server. And if you have a credential prompt, you just click on it. Automatically the RDP will be initiated, and it will ask you for the username and password. Okay, so based on the user's requirement, based on how they want to deploy this, they can always customize, and you always have the tunnel. And these are the various VPN. So if you want a VPN to headquarters, once you click on it, automatically a VPN client will be triggered, and it will connect to the headquarters VPN. So as you can see, when it's trying to connect to headquarters, a VPN client will be Barracuda Network Access Client. You are now successfully connected to the headquarters VPN. So once it is there, you can always use your native app, MSPHC, or sorry, you can use your command, or yeah, always. If you see VPN, so this is a local IP, so which you got through the SSL VPN. So this is how it works on the Windows. Let me show how it works on the iOS. So this is an iOS device, and this is the Cuda Launch. I'm logging in as a guest. It's connection timeout. Let me try that again. And it is having multiple login. So you can also have OTP or Active Directory. So for the demo, it has kept Microsoft Active Directory as well as OTP. So I'm going to use Active Directory for this. So once you log in, you will see the same screen as you've seen in the desktop app. So you can see the tunnel, you can see the VPN, you can see the folders, you can see the apps, and this is the favorites. So if you want to add any favorites, you just click on it and you choose which one to appear in the favorite, and you just confirm it. So let's test the content management system. So click, this will open the browser, and this is the internal site. And this is the customer relationship management. Yes, and you have headquarters intranet. This is the intranet file. Okay, so you can go through the archive. You can, yeah, and you have a tunneled Apache landing page. You can see it is a, if you see the address, it is the local address 127.0.0. It's a local address. So this is a test page. So you can see the default page of Apache and Windows RDP. So see how we're connecting iPad through a, so since it's iPad, there is no single sign-on. So single sign, if you can see the difference. Like when I use the desktop application, it didn't ask for the username and password, even though the single sign-on is enabled, because it uses the Windows session credential and it will let you to log in. But for the iPad, you'll have to just give the password. See, you can see the same. You can do whatever you want to do in the remote machine. Okay. So Internet Explorer. Yes. Okay, let me close this. This is the folders. You can, similar to the desktop application, you can edit the text, rename, or you can always edit it. This is a demo text file which is accessible over the file server. If you see on the top right, the VPN is established. The moment I open CudaLaunch or get authenticated, the remote is opened. And these are the various VPN headquarters. As you see, this is now part of the headquarter VPN. You see before the same site which I was accessible, now it's not accessible because I'm connected to a headquarters VPN where the site is not published. So similarly, you can connect to various VPN over here, and you can also have SSH tunnel. So once SSH tunnel is established, you can have SSH to the targeted machine. See, the moment I disconnect, the network client is closed automatically. So this application can be downloaded from the Microsoft Store. So this is the access you are giving to the users or even third party. And even if the third party, they don't want to use the app and they don't have a support app for Windows, they can always use the browser based. So this will be the browser based. And the only difference for the browser based and the app, you can have RDP only on the app. Like you see, this RDP is available only for the app. It's not available on the browser based applications. So browser based, you can have all web based, or you can always use the network client to connect. So this is the network client. This is the network client. You can always get a profile created. So this is your new profile. So this can be like pushed automatically when you deploy the profile from the Barracuda CloudGen Firewall. So here you can give the server name and you can give the username and password for authentication and what type of tunnel is going to be established. And you can always set like the timeout and how long you're going to stay connected and everything. Once the profile is created either manually or pushed from Cloud Generation Firewall, you can make use of the VPN client. So once you connect through Barracuda VPN client, you can start using your native browser. As I mentioned, you can use CudaLaunch to connect your on-premises published or locally available servers like SharePoint or internal application, which I've shown in the demo, your Jira servers. The same can be achieved if your CloudGen firewall is on the cloud, like Azure or AWS or even Google public cloud. You can connect to your cloud resources. So this is how you give secure access to the users. Okay, this is the end of the session. If you have any question and answer, you can always use the question and answer window. So this is available only for the Trina protocol. So the drag and drop automatically will create a Trina configuration, and all you have to do is make sure the correct authentication or encryption are being used. So once that is made, you simply drag and drop. This will be applicable only for the Trina protocol.
Thank you so much, Mohan. Thanks for the session, and thanks everyone for attending the session as well.